Hey, John. It's time
Oh,
for
hey, how's it
another
going?
episode of Eat Sleep Code, the official Telerik podcast. So we've got some fun links to share with everybody today. I say fun, but usually they're entertaining. I don't know if they're fun. They're definitely entertaining. I've
Yeah,
been sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say for the keen eyes behind you. Obviously, I don't have my green screen today, and that's because my office is a total disaster. So I have not had a chance to put it up. So apologies for the mess.
Man, it was a busy week in news. I don't know if I covered this one last week, but I didn't have you last week, so I wanted to share this again if we didn't get a chance to
Sure.
talk about it already. So this was an interesting one. Did you hear about this one?
No, I didn't actually. I just laughed at the title though.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, the title is
I know
just as
exactly what this
bad.
is though. Yeah, I know exactly what this is.
Yeah, yeah. So this and I can't remember. Does it? Yeah, it's zooming. Okay. Um, so this mom
Yeah.
decides that she wants to bump somebody else off the cheerleading squad to make room for
Sure.
her daughter that did not make first cut. So she goes full like what's that show on Showtime? Like
I have no idea.
Silicon Valley or Mr. Robot, and
Oh, okay.
decides to use deepfakes to make videos and pictures of these girls like smoking and drinking and doing other things they shouldn't be doing.
Hey, points for creativeness. I think
Yeah,
so.
she got
Minus
points.
minus a million points for maliciousness, but there you go.
She got points to the tune of being arrested. So
Yeah.
she, I this is one of those things where I think technology precedes like law, and they didn't really have a law so much to throw
Sure.
at her, so they just kind of went with the old harassment.
Okay.
They're like, this is harassment. That's it. We'll go with harassment.
Yeah.
So she's currently accused of doing this to these kids.
Yep.
It's
Well,
terrible, man.
it is terrible, but like I said, like 2 points for being creative, but minus a billion for being malicious.
Yeah. I don't think this will be the last time we see this, by the way. This is
Oh
just
no,
the first
no,
of
the
this type of
Pandora's
thing.
box has been opened. So
Yeah. So this is an unfortunate use of a very uh, impressive technology that we've talked about a few times on the show. I think we talked about one where they were like reanimating like old photos and stuff like that, and it was pretty cool. So there are cool and good uses, and this is not one of them at all. So yeah, 100,000 lines of TypeScript, a
yes,
data-backed retrospective. What's this all about,
yeah.
John?
So obviously, people, they're starting to come out with some project like other than Visual Studio Code. People often, are citing sort of projects that are being built with TypeScript, etc. And this is one of them. And basically, I think that there's a lot of interesting data coming out of people's experiences with programming languages and frameworks, and 100,000 lines is nothing to sneeze at. So
Hmm.
this is a bit of a retrospective of what this author went through in regards to working with TypeScript and some of the good things, some of the bad things, some of the things that they found worked well, some of the things that worked well on their team. Their team was consistent of about 11 front end engineers, 3 or 4 engineers directly involved in a migration of a project. These guys were essentially migrating from, I believe it was, where was it they were using them? I can remember it here somewhere. But long story short, they basically migrated and then utilized TypeScript for part of that process,
Hmm.
and found that they got a lot of errors fixed. They were pleasantly surprised with what TypeScript was able to provide them. They used a tool called TS Migrate, which is, there's a number of strategies in terms of migration, but automated tools I found don't always do the best job, but they can
Yeah.
be an easy win, so to speak. So, but yeah, kind of a discussion around here of what this person went through.
3,168 errors fixed.
Yes,
That's a lot of bugs to fix.
yes,
Or
yeah.
errors. Didn't necessarily mean bugs, but I love this title though. Regexes everywhere.
Yeah, we actually went through some of this process ourselves. Not so much a conversion from JavaScript, but rather we at Octopus we had there's a number of flags you can enable and disable on TypeScript. There's ones like null checks, for example. So because of the fact that TypeScript has a lot of strict type checking and a lot of semantic or no, syntactic analysis of your code,
Hmm.
there's a great rules engine built into TypeScript. And so one of the rules that we had disabled was strict null checks, and we enabled that and eliminated a whole class of bugs. Now, with that comes a lot of checking. So you have to make sure that so there's the potential for values to be null, and if the compiler does not determine whether or not you're doing adequate enough job of determining whether something is null, it will complain. And so we had lots and lots of complaints. So, these things are good, but if they start off that way, you can keep up. But obviously, when you turn these things on after a while, a lot of these errors start to creep out. So, but this is one of the strengths I think of TypeScript is the fact that it's got this great rules engine
Hmm.
that people seem to really enjoy it. You know, the nature of npm and types and all that sort of stuff, definitely typed and emitting types so that you can use them elsewhere. That can be a bit of not a challenge, but a pain. That being said, it's actually quite nice to work in, I find.
Yeah, that title about regexes reminded me of something, so I pulled it up really quick.
There you go.
We've talked about source generators on the show a little bit,
Yeah, yep.
and I've never written one, so I decided last week to write the unholiest of unholy uh, source generators. And I'm not sure if this thing has legs yet, but I had to put like the biggest regex I think I've ever written together to make it
All
work.
right. Nice.
So I'm able to parse your CSS and yank the media queries out, then
Okay.
source generate strong types based on those media queries, so you can use them
Yep.
in Blazor code.
Yeah,
I
I
thought it
think
was a
there's
fun experiment.
I think these tools exist for other languages, but Blazor is certainly one I have not seen, so that's interesting.
Yeah, so it basically scans that CSS file, and then I put in like a pseudo C sharp attribute language that you can use to mark it and name it. So it will pick that up and actually name the breakpoint, or you can just use
Okay,
the auto-generated screen sizes that it pulls off the actual media query itself.
gotcha.
So it was quite the experiment, but it does some pretty cool stuff so far. So source generators are neat, man. I've had a lot of
Yeah, they
fun
are.
playing with this.
They look great at the beginning, so they're a lot of fun to play with in the very beginning. But then after a while, you have to start writing some ungodly code to do some very specific things that people might want.
And Jeffrey Barnes here says regex is voodoo. If you saw the
Okay.
regex for this source generator, you would
Yep.
agree.
Yep.
It's like two lines like
Yeah.
across.
Everyone can convert a class or a type to begin with. Like, oh, string is string, int is int, and then after a while, it's like, oh my god, this tuple is giving me a headache. Like I can't figure this out. How do I convert this? So.
Yeah, so there is a simple regex that finds the media query itself, and then there is a
Hmm.
much more complex one that finds this phony uh, CS or C sharp attribute that you can use to name. So you could say at breakpoint name equals, and it will find that, pull the name off of it, and then also
Yep.
find the next media query in line that you named. So it pairs those two things up in the tool. So
Okay.
it does that. Also, what I didn't know about source generators was I could bring in my own parameters. So you can like specify the namespace that gets applied to the source code that it generates.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You can do whatever you want there. You can create the properties to be whatever you want and do whatever you want. So I thought that was pretty
Okay.
cool. So
Nice.
it's pretty flexible tooling, and it's opened up some new ideas, but I'm not sure if this is one that's going to stick or not. I feel like I've created like Frankenstein's monster here.
Okay.
I'm not sure if removing a CSS media query should break a compile. That is something that feels very strange to me. So I'm waiting to see how community at large responds to this idea.
All right.
Um,
Probably with
yeah,
hostility, pitchforks, and torches.
most likely. Like I said, it is very Frankenstein-y feeling. So, you know. Speaking of Frankenstein's monster, no, this is actually really cool. The ML.NET team, they have revamped the ML Builder tool, the model
Okay.
builder tool that's baked into Visual Studio. I say baked in, but I think you still have to opt into it. I think there's a menu item there permanently, but when you click on it, it says, go ahead and install this package, and it'll light up the rest of the tooling. Um, so they revamped this tool, and it was already pretty good to begin with, but I think it was more of a prototype than a finished product. So they're kind of tightening it up and making it a lot more useful.
Hmm.
So when you're in your .NET application environment here in Visual Studio, you literally can say add machine learning, and you've got a new add machine learning dialog that comes up in Visual Studio. And then they've kind of updated the UI for this, and it brings you through like a step-by-step wizard. So you
Sure.
get you pick your scenario. What are you trying to build a model for? That kind of determines a set of training algorithms that it will use.
Yes.
And then you select environment. I think that's like where are you going to train? Are you going to do it locally or in Azure? Or do you have like a rig that you want to set up for this? Your data, you bring in your CSV files or point it at SQL, all that good stuff. Then you train it, evaluate it, consume it. It generates sample code for you and everything. They've added a new config file for all of this, so you can kind of share these things and retrain and
Hmm.
tweak the what you've built through the UI.
Yes.
So that's all brand new. They've added some more options in the part where you select your data. Um, The consumption area has been redesigned as well. Um, this was very basic before. I think
Hmm.
it just gave you like one input box or something. It kind of auto-generated up on the screen. So they've added some more stuff for that as well. So it's
Yeah.
really, really cool to see how far this has come.
Yes.
And
I
I would
suspect.
suggest giving it a
Sorry.
shot. Hmm.
Yeah, I suspect that this tool will be used maybe once or twice, and then you'll probably put it in as part of a workflow afterwards. But as a means to an end, great. I think that these tools are great, but unfortunately, I've always found that wizards are kind of like they're always like the first time experience is always really pleasant, but then after that, you're like, just get out of the way, wizard. I want you to do what I want you to do, but I don't like all the dialogue boxes, and so that's
So
when the CLI takes over.
I found that that is true for a lot of software development things. ML is a little bit of a different beast,
Oh,
in
for
my
sure.
opinion.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And I initially thought that going into learning some machine learning stuff, and
Hmm.
this is like Microsoft has different levels of entry for the machine learning space, and they're all very well staged out. Their lowest like entry level, I would say, is like cognitive services, where it's
Hmm.
already done for you. You just say, I want to recognize faces, and all I want to do is, make an API call. I don't want to train something. I let you Microsoft people do that for me. And you can go into cognitive services and get, face recognition or text services, those type of things. Then they've got another platform called Azure Machine Learning, that is like another entry level thing where you can drag and drop
Hmm.
your models together using like it looks like Visio or something. You drag workflows onto a surface. It's
Sure.
actually really well done,
Yeah.
and it does a good job teaching you all of the machine learning glossary terms and all of those things. So
Gotcha.
it tells you a good deal about what each model is, and it's got inputs and outputs for each block of code, and it really simplifies things, but teaches you a lot at the same time. And it's a
Hmm.
really powerful tool too. And this kind of sits in the middle ground where you're not writing it from scratch, but you're getting that initial block of code generated for you. And I think this is a real sweet spot right here,
Sure.
especially with that
So
config file that they added.
I've always had this philosophy, which is CLI before UI.
Hmm.
So the fact that they have a CLI is great. It looks like this is a little bit of polish on what they had before. I took a liberty of going to the GitHub repo that hosts
Yeah.
this, and it looks like the UI they had was a little crusty, but this
Yeah.
one certainly looks a lot better.
Yep. And like I said, this config file I think is, yeah, I think more of that step that you're looking for, John, where
Hmm.
it's get the UI out of my way, and you just come
Yeah,
in here with some JSON and kind of
yeah,
bash
yeah.
some things out, and hit go, and it's building your model for you. One
The
thing.
biggest challenge I've always found with CLI, the CLI route is the first time experience. That's why I
Mhm.
think wizards are great for the first time experience, but then after that it's CLI all the way. So anyway, sorry, I'll stop.
One thing that's really cool about this tool, and you may be able to activate this from the command line as well, but it will iterate through different algorithms, and
Yes.
then it will evaluate those 5 to 10 algorithms and give you the one
Yep.
that performed the best.
Yep. Yep.
And to have kind of a wizard, whether it's click through or run from the command line that can do that, I think is a really powerful tool to have for ML,
Totally agree.
especially if you're not a data scientist full time, and
Oh
this
yeah.
is something you're trying to add value to your product with, and you don't have a huge time investment to go learn that stuff, and this gives you kind of that stepping stone that you need to get ahead. It's very
I
cool.
know. I know we've been on this for a bit, but I'll just say that I'm a big naysayer of AI at the moment in its present form.
Hmm.
ML though is a bit of a different animal, and I know that the two get lumped together a lot of times. But ML, I think, is has a lot of merit. I think, and should not be ignored. And I'm not normally one of those people to easily gravitate to something, but I've seen some examples, and I've seen cases where I'm like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. And the thing about ML is that it's a means to an end, which is it's not the perfect solution by any stretch. Like computers are basically iterating. They're doing what they're really good at doing, which is doing something over and over and over again really quickly.
Yep.
So I think that ML has, if you've got an engineering mindset, which is, look, it's kind of like the same sort of approach that they do at SpaceX, which is, look, we're not going to have the perfect solution. Let's just launch the thing and see what happens, Like, so I think ML is kind of in that same virtual context. It's like, let's just iterate over this thing and see what happens, and then we'll get better and we'll get better and we'll get better. So my hat's off to ML in some respects.
Mm-hmm.
They've done a really good job, that whole community, in terms of bringing it to the masses.
Yeah. So ML and AI. So ML is a subset of AI.
Yeah.
So not all AI is ML, but all ML is AI. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're cousins to other things like vision, computer vision, and all that stuff. But yeah, people do kind of just like lump them up into one big category these days.
Yeah.
This is more data science and statistics based computing than anything.
Yep.
It's really amazing stuff though that you can
Mm-hmm.
use in your pretty much any kind of application these days.
Yeah.
Right. OpenTelemetry.net.
Yes, sir.
The .NET folks have been busy, eh?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not just .NET, but OpenTelemetry is this sort of initiative. If you go to OpenTelemetry.io, it's basically telemetry has been around forever. We've had this sort of broad support across the industry for telemetry across multiple languages, and what this is basically about doing is basically trying to provide that support across several languages and frameworks. And so the idea is that you should just be able to integrate this, drop it in, and then the surface area looks the same by and large for doing all your logging and tracing and collection of metrics, et cetera, et cetera. So I think this is a good thing. This is obviously the .NET implementation of it. So this is basically the application of it. And I think this is going to be good going forward for a lot of folks.
Cool. Yeah, this reminds me a bit of the initiative to get Swagger built in with
Yes.
OpenAPI, and that's like just enabled by default now in .NET
Yeah.
and ASP.
So now that work is being called. It's now called Swashbuckle under ASP.NET Core, and Swagger is now the old term. It's actually refers.
It's like like Telerik in progress. Like
yes.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. So when you refer to the spec, you should refer to it as OpenAPI, and then when you refer to the framework, that varies obviously from language to language. And in .NET Core, it's Swashbuckle.
Cool.
So OpenTelemetry is for .NET is this implementation, and this I think is good. I think that if you're wanting to provide an implementation that will have long legs, hopefully if this thing continues, you never know, but if you're doing logging, tracing, metric collection, etc., and you want to do it in a consistent manner that will work across frameworks and languages, this is the approach to take.
All right, let's see what we've got up next. Sorry, I'm clicking wrong.
No, you're fine.
You can't.
No,
see what
you.
I'm clicking, but on
That's
my
fine,
desktop, I've opened up things in my view I can't get rid of. There we go.
I don't think they care too much. It's all good.
Mozilla Security.
Yes.
Firefox 87 trims. HTTP prefers. What is this all about?
All right, so
from the headline.
Let's start with the beginning, which is what is an HTTP referrer? And an HTTP referrer is basically an HTTP header that gets tacked onto a request that tells you this request was visiting this resource prior to hitting you. So, hey, web server, I was on CNN.com before I came to yourwebsite.com. And the thing about referrers is that they provide you with, for the website owner, it gives you valuable data as to where people are coming from. So if you're thinking of things such as, marketing campaigns, etc., and referrers are used in that manner for a variety of things as well. The problem with refers is that they can be very leaky. They can actually do a lot of nasty things in terms of leaking your privacy, because they sometimes can contain a lot of user specific data, query string variables. There's all kinds of things that can get in there. And so Chrome, interestingly, recently enabled this, where they basically were they were blanking this out, basically. And so Firefox has followed suit in 87, version 87 of Firefox. And so in terms of user privacy, this is a good thing. And there's a lot of things that are going along the lines here as well in terms of policy, which they articulate here. But the large of it is that Firefox is following suit for compatibility with other browsers, and I think this is a good thing. We're starting to take back a little bit of our own control in terms of privacy. What's interesting in terms of this is that there seems to be a battle. There's a lot of contention going on between various companies for user data. You're seeing this with Apple. You're seeing this with Facebook in terms of either being on for or against, etc. I think all of this is good that we hash these things out. We have the full control over the protocols and such, and why we shouldn't prevent doing these things. So this is a good thing, and it was just an FYI in terms of if people are looking to use a different browser and they care about security and privacy, this might be one reason. But again, it's something that will continue to evolve.
So speaking of security and privacy, John. Did you know?
Yes. We talked about this earlier.
Did we talk about this on?
Yeah, a little bit. We briefly mentioned it, that when you go incognito, it's not really incognito, but the lawsuit is different.
Yeah. So did you know that all those
shopping
recipes
sites
that you've been
yes
Googling?
Yeah, we all know what you're talking about. We're shopping for gifts for our special one, and we don't want them to see what we're shopping for.
So apparently now this was not clear enough, apparently. So this verbiage is not clear enough, is what the lawsuit is. Although I'm pretty certain that it's clear enough to me that when it says that it won't save this, but it will actually transmit websites you visit, your employer, your school, your service provider.
Yeah.
That it is indeed tracking some of the things.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely your ISP. Your ISP knows everything about you. Everything. Unless you're using a VPN. So, yeah, if you're not using a VPN, your ISP knows everything. Like, everything. So, just something to be aware of.
So I would expect some changes to come to that screen, because this is what they're trying to base their lawsuit on now.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think understandably, Google, they need to articulate these things, because they have to remember that not everyone is technical, and this stuff can get a little bit, like, I feel bad for people who aren't technical, because it can get a bit. You have to kind of think back to when you didn't know anything about computers and realize, like, okay, I don't know what any of these terms mean. And so I think it behooves tech companies especially to basically make these descriptions bearable for laymen, because without that, people are not. They have to look up terms. They have to figure out what the heck is an ISP. What the heck is a cookie? I don't know what a cookie is. I thought that was something you ate, sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah. So do you think it holds enough water for a $5 billion lawsuit?
Well, the reality is most of these lawsuits start off large, and then they get pared down to something very, very small. They typically end up at, I have no data to support this other than my anecdotal sort of what I've seen happen before, but they start off with like a $5 trillion lawsuit, and then it gets pared down to like 5 million, so usually like 1% of the lawsuit. Or, what typically can also happen is that there are changes made and the suit gets settled. And we actually end up better for it. So I think some of these things are not just done for reasons that people may think. Like the dollar amount gets mentioned a lot. That's the thing that corporations care the most about, I think. And so that is the deterrent towards this bad behavior. And I'm not throwing Google under the bus for this behavior. This is just what they deem needs to be changed. And I'm assuming that this group went to Google and said, listen, you guys got to change this. And for whatever reason, maybe it didn't get changed or such. But
Yeah.
I have to believe people are acting in good faith.
I think I remember one from years ago that went through where somebody claimed damages because they're the thing that you can click on to retrieve your passwords from the browser. When
Yes.
they first started integrating that with the browser,
Yes.
you can basically go in and see a list of all the websites that a user has passwords saved for. Even if you
Yes.
can't get to the passwords,
Yes.
that person has
Has
a
been to that
login.
location. Yes.
So somebody, I believe, sued at one point because their wife or significant other got in there and saw they had passwords to, like escort services or whatever it was, and
Perfect. Great.
yeah, and they're
Just
like, well,
wonderful.
if you have
I'm
a
being
login to
sarcastic,
this
by the
site,
way, when I'm saying that. I need to clarify. I'm just like, look, you don't. I don't know. Sorry. I say I'm just like great because I'm eye rolling as I'm saying that. So
yeah, like if you don't want somebody to be mad, like don't blame Google, like
no,
that's
blame
not their
yourself.
fault. Yeah,
Yeah, it's your fault.
you always gotta blame somebody else. That's
I
the way
guess.
to go.
Yeah.
You ever heard that term? I got a bridge I could sell you.
Sure.
So NFTs have hit the point where
Yes.
we have a bridge that we're going to sell you. So John Cleese, Monty Python's John Cleese, drew a picture of the Brooklyn Bridge
Yeah.
and NFT'd it and then sold it.
Yeah.
So I've been following this NFT thing. So it's non-fungible token.
Yes.
It's kind of like Bitcoin, but you're attaching it to
Digital assets.
virtual, yeah, and a digital asset, virtual good. This one, it escapes me how this is supposed to be a place to make money. Like
Well,
unless you're somebody like John Cleese that can get this kind of attention and sell a photo
sure.
for online for $50,000. Or the other one was the big news headline one was the first tweet from
Yes.
CEO of Twitter was sold for some
Yeah.
ungodly amount of money.
Yeah.
Other than
Jacked
that,
something out and sold it for 2.3 billion, I think, or million, excuse me.
yeah.
So
It's something I've just been reading about in amazement because I just can't quite wrap my brain around how this is supposed to be a market.
well, people said the same thing about cryptocurrency, I guess. So
Yeah.
people want to invest in tulips. God bless them.
There's several marketplaces like that are available now, or you can go like
Sure.
put your animated GIF or whatever the heck, digital asset.
Yep.
Dude, there's just absurd things on there, and people are selling them, and some of them are being bought, and it's being flooded right now. So I don't know if this stuff is just gonna sit out there in the ether forever, or what
Yeah.
it's gonna do.
I think we have better things to spend our time doing than this, in my opinion. And I think we have bigger problems to fix with technology than trying to implement something that is just, let's see how we can, turn this into money, I think.
Yeah.
So, but that's me with my sort of, we should all be, working on things like climate change or, trying to, figure out when's the next meteor coming or, there's a lot of work to be done in those spaces, by the way. We could use your brain power, developers. Please do not waste your time on this. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to deter you from making money. God bless you if you make money doing something with technology. But I think, it would help if we worked on some of the world's problems.
I mean, what is your collectible animated GIF going to be worth when the next meteor
Oh,
takes you out?
tens and tens of cents. All right?
Millions and millions of Dogecoin.
That's right. Actually, that's actually Dogecoin's worth 7 cents now. So
Yeah, it's bouncing around
Doge.
a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, however you want to pronounce it. I love
Yes.
that John Cleese is still like trolling at his age.
Sure. Sure.
In
Yeah.
a true sense of
Oh, he's
lifelong
a true
comedian.
comedian. Yeah,
Yes.
true comedian at heart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's amazing.
Love it.
Yeah, I love that he's keeping up with the times.
Yep.
Like, doing new things,
Yep.
taking his
Very good.
his comedy with modern swing on it. Good stuff. Speaking of a comedian with a modern swing on things,
Oh, there you go.
that had no traction.
No.
Our good friend Sam Bazoo.
Yes.
He's just all around good guy. And if you want to learn about Maui, which is the new Microsoft multi-platform UI approach to .NET, then I would suggest following Sam Bazoo. Sam has been all over this Maui thing from the beginning. He's been checking out the Blazor desktop stuff and Blazor mobile bindings and Xamarin and seeing how all this is going to fit together in .NET 6. So he's writing about this in on
A
the
newsletter.
blogs. Yeah.
Yeah. The Sands
So
of Maui.
he's
I
going to
like
keep
it.
up with this as they release new preview bits. So I would highly, highly suggest going to Telerik.com and clicking on blogs and following Sam's articles.
Okay.
It's too much stuff like between the Blazor, whatnots and AOT and all of that stuff that's coming in Preview 6. I don't have time to keep up with all of this too, so I rely on Sam to fill in those blanks for me.
Nice.
So he's been on stream on our Code It Live channel right here. If you click follow, you'll see Sam coding on some of this stuff as well. So he's actually building stuff with Maui and learning a lot about it as he goes. So
Just
check that
incidentally,
stuff
we're
out.
having a lot of success using .NET on other platforms as well at Octopus. So we use .NET Core 3 multi-platform support for shipping our CLI, which is used quite a number of locations. So yeah, we've got it working quite well. We've got it running our bits running on Linux, which is also in a container. So yeah, it's all good stuff. This .NET thing is here to stay.
It is. It is. And TJ giving props to the headline there. Speaking of stuff here to stay, TJ's talking about React on this channel, by the way. So if you're wanting to learn about React,
That old thing.
you hit that follow button, man.
All right.
Can't say it enough. Follow the
Okay.
Code Live channel. You'll find out all these new things that are happening.
Sweet.
So, John, it is time for your absolute favorite segment of our
Oh,
show.
more VR.
We're not quite to VR yet.
Okay.
Not quite to VR yet. So this is the segment of the show that I like to call. Hang on, wait for it.
Showing behind the curtain. Oh. Okay.
Can I
Perfect.
play Doom?
Yep.
This was a goofy headline. Like, it's still kind of neat, but computer built with swarms of soldier crabs. So I guess they did a study on crab swarms,
Okay.
and they figured out there was a pattern to how these crabs. Oh, I'm getting that flashy thing again.
Yeah.
To how these crabs swarm together, and they figured out they could make gates out of it.
Yes. I know where
So
this
when
is going. Yeah.
if you have gates, therefore you have
Yes.
memory, therefore you
Yes.
have
Therefore, you
computing.
have ones and zeros. Therefore, you can do computers. Yes.
So, I gotta figure out what that bug is that's doing this.
That's okay. It's probably one of the ads.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
The crabs have hit your computer.
my computer has.
They're no longer bugs.
Yeah,
They're called crabs.
That's great. Sea insects. Good.
Yep.
Sea bugs.
Did you tackle that crab that I showed you in the GitHub issue earlier? Maybe that's what we should call them now. It's crabs, not bugs.
Let's see, where were we?
I got crabs in my software. Sorry, that was bad. I had to go there.
Let's see if I can get this back on screen.
Meanwhile, while you're doing that, I sent you some more links we can discuss.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them up all at once so I can just
Okay.
show the view again.
So ignore the man behind the curtain as the rods are being pulled, etc., etc. Ed is clearing out all the crabs from his computer.
Shaking out all the sand.
Yeah, so I would imagine that I don't know what imperative they would give crabs to go and perform a 1 or 0 through those gates. But it would be interesting to see how those things work. So
Yeah, I guess they could control the flow of the crabs through
okay,
the system,
yeah.
and then they can
There's a lot of
they can
randomness in the
check.
system,
Yeah,
a lot of entropy.
I guess like part of it was like if two crabs come together, they will clump up and like they will swarm, and then they will choose another path, and then you can check to see if one path is empty versus the other. I don't know. It was weird. It was a very strange thing that they were observing, but I thought it was kind of cool.
All right,
And anytime I can play the can it play Doom
sure,
animation? I mean, it's so awesome. I mean, that
perfect.
is like the best. That's the best animation on the internet right now.
Okay,
So,
okay,
which we'll have to talk about Doom sometime though, because there is a new Doom out. I haven't tried it yet, but
okay,
I did see there is a new one.
nice.
Was this spell check thing one of our links, John?
Shell check, yes.
Oh,
So
shell check. I
shell,
thought it said
yeah, yeah.
spell check.
That's right. So this is just a cool little utility. It's got a GitHub backed repo that allows you to check your shell scripts for any possible problems. So there's an integrated linter in this, and it will go through your shell scripts. So you've got various people write shell scripts all the time. You can just dump it in here, and we'll give report any problems you might have. So
You
there
know,
you go.
this was a good segue from that crab article.
Sure. Why not?
The shell check.
Yes. I know.
That,
I know.
I know. I'm just
Eh.
bringing attention to myself. That joke was
You need a laugh
selfish.
track on this show. There you go.
That joke was totally selfish.
Sure.
Selfish of me. It's, it's all bad.
Yes, it is.
Chart CSS. Is this
Yeah,
like
so,
charts with
yes.
no code, like just
You
CSS?
got it. Yeah, you got it. So, obviously, people, you might wonder why. Uh, that's a fair question. But CSS turns out to be a very valid target for folks who care about tying up the CPU.
Mm-hmm.
So CSS has historically been known as a good alternative for targeting the GPU, which seems to be a lot. Unless you're mining for cryptocurrency, seems to be underutilized, or playing games, seems to be underutilized on a lot of people's machines. So this is a framework for drawing stuff to the screen using this framework, and specifically if you're wanting to draw charts. The nice thing about that is they're also integrated as part of the DOM. So there's no black box when bringing up your dev tools. You can simply walk up to various elements within the DOM, and those are propagated through CSS. Animations obviously come for along for the ride because it's built into CSS, along with other sort of 3D effects, etc. So this is a framework you can check out. It's Charts CSS, and it's at chartscss.org.
Huh. I wonder how this would play with accessibility and stuff.
Probably not well. I don't know. I think when these things happen, they
Well,
say
the
they claim to
same.
be accessible. I don't know why, but I don't know how they do. But and I'm not saying they don't support. I'm just saying I don't know how. I don't know how they support it. So,
It's all fun and good until your boss says, "Let me click on the chart," and
sure.
oh, I don't know. It looks interesting though. Like
Yeah.
CSS always amazes me what you're capable of doing with it.
Oh
So
yeah.
I mean, it really does
Yeah yeah.
all kinds of crazy stuff these days. Have you
Yes.
seen these like works of art done in CSS? Like, people will make like elaborate paintings and
Sure.
things. It's just
I've also seen
crazy.
people do the same in MS Paint.
No, you haven't. Those two words should never be used in the same
Okay.
sentence, John.
Okay. Sorry.
Now, I remember, so this is like some old school, back in the day before the internet. Yeah, I'm dating myself really, really hard right now.
Yeah. I was just
Um,
gonna say.
Before the internet, uh, I had Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat game for PC.
Yep.
This is a long time ago. So it's like 90 something, right? So I took a screen capture of the game and recolored one of the characters, printed it out, uh, colored it in Paint, by the way. So pixel by pixel in MS
All
Paint,
right.
coloring one of these Mortal Kombat characters' outfits in a different color. Printed it out, brought it to school, and claimed that you could unlock this character by playing perfect game where you never got hit, like not harmed at all, beat the entire game, without taking a single point of damage, and you would unlock this character, and made a lot of people mad because
Yeah.
there was no way to fact check this stuff back then. So
Sure.
we, had a lot of classmates trying this out for days at a time. I never did tell them that it was phony, unless they're watching now. And if you're still upset about that, then it's been 30 years. Get over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, what is Stack Overflow for Teams is now free forever to 50
Yeah,
users.
for up to 50 users. So Stack Overflow offers this element, if you will, of being able to do team collaboration. So it's kind of like the same idea with Stack Overflow in general, which is you post questions, answer them, etc. Except it has an internal focus. So this is good for folks wanting to do sort of like private knowledge sharing in a form that is useful to them. And this is hosted by Stack Overflow. Integrates with things like Slack and Teams, gives you metrics around your engagement, etc., etc. So basically, if you're looking for a collaboration platform for your team, this is one of many options that are out there. This is not the only option, by the way. This is a very hot area. But now Stack Overflow is now using this model and making it free for teams of 50 people.
So does this mean I can downvote my teammates for
Yes.
arbitrary reasons that don't
Yes.
really pertain to their question?
Yes, you can do
This,
-1, RTFM, that sort of stuff. You can do all that stuff if you want.
so I don't have anything personally against Stack Overflow, but I have
No.
had some bad experiences
Sure. Yeah,
um,
yeah.
where I've submitted answers for something that were for like version X, and like 5 years later, like all of a sudden I see like my score plummeting on Stack Overflow.
Yes.
So I click into this thing, and it's like in version 13, like this is not the
Yeah.
correct answer anymore, and it's like, really, like
Yeah. Guys like John
you're gonna
Skeet are all
downvote
over
me?
this.
You're gonna downvote my you're gonna downvote like a 6-year-old answer
Yes.
to settle the score. Thank you for that. Anyway, no, cool tool. I'm not trying to poo on it. It's I'm sure it's for teams. I totally would not downvote all my teammates on purpose, but I would never color in pixel by pixel a a character from a video game just to troll the sixth grade
No, of
class.
course not. You?
Never, never, never
Never,
would do that.
never.
Anyway, next, before I validate everyone's impression of me, um, what is this awesome WebAssembly Tools thing
So
that you
awesome
mentioned?
is a bit of I guess you could call it a meme. It's a
Okay.
trend you see in GitHub, which is basically like a link blog, but it's on a README for a GitHub, and they branch into a whole variety of ones. So there's like awesome C# tools, awesome IDEs, awesome debug tools, etc. And this is one for WebAssembly. So if you're looking for a collection of links that point you to projects, tools, websites, blog posts, analyzers, etc., that are all focused on WebAssembly, then this is the page to go check out.
Very cool. I didn't see a big one in here. I might have to go
Yeah, you may have
look into
to submit a
this.
PR.
Yeah, so there is one called WebAssembly.studio, which I don't see
Mm,
listed in here yet.
it wasn't deemed
Oh, there
awesome
it is at the
enough.
bottom.
Oh, okay.
Other. It's under Other. This is a really cool one that I use a lot for presentations and stuff. So
Yeah,
it's like .NET Fiddle or Fiddler or
sure.
StackBlitz or Blazor, REPL or whatever they're all called.
Hmm.
But it's for WebAssembly, so you can come in and say, "Give me." I think I've shown it on the show actually. Give me an empty Rust project or Hello World Rust project, or C#, whatever. If it's by the Mozilla people, so it's not just some random website, and you can start like a interactive IDE in the browser type experience with WebAssembly. It's really neat to be able to do that, I think.
Yeah.
So that one's listed in there as well. It looks like there's a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
WebAssembly SH. Never seen this one, but looks like we've got a command line that we can use in the browser.
Yeah, it's like a fake shell.
Yeah. Neat stuff.
So there you
I
go.
like that, John. I like this this memory dump colorization tool. That's pretty cool. WebAssembly Code Explorer. So you can read the bits directly, like Neo. You can just go right in there.
I don't see the Matrix anymore. All I see is blonde, brunette, redhead. Yeah, I know.
Do people even know that reference anymore?
No, I think it's because the
OG
Matrix
nerds?
came out so. Yeah, I mean, it came out so long ago. But if I hear that quote, I know it.
I think it's the whole COVID lockdown. I think I've gotten like 10 years older in 1 year. Like it's just I start saying things now and I'm like, oh my God, is that still a thing? It's probably not. And finally, this is our last link. This is a quick post about responsive and adaptive rendering in React.
Yes.
So I thought this was kind of neat. It shows you how to connect a React hook to the window resize event.
Yep.
Very short and concise. So it's good. A good article to get you off and running with just using the React hooks methodologies to connect to that resize event. I think this is, I don't believe I saw throttling and stuff in here, but it does show you how to connect and remove those event listeners. Probably want to like loop in some throttling for this as well, so you're not just like spamming events like crazy. But you can do a lot of cool stuff with the window.resize and also match media with JavaScript. So if you learn a little bit about this, you can probably take this and run with it pretty far. But like I said, nice, short, and concise about how to do that. The samples are really well stated here.
I like it.
Cool stuff. And so that one was make React apps responsive with a custom React hook.
Awesome.
Very cool. All right. That's it for us today, John.
All right.
Parting words, my friend.
No, just stay safe and hope to, I will say this is that as we're getting through, I guess, all the vaccinations and such, I hope to see you folks at some conference in the near future. I'm pretty optimistic that once we get vaccinated and we start to contain this virus, that developer conferences may become a thing again. Who knows? So I say all this because I actually am looking towards the future in 2022, 2023 as far as what we intend to do. So I'm optimistic that I will see some of you folks in the future.
Yeah, I think 2022 sounds probable to me. I've got a tentative vaccination appointment sometime either this week.
Oh, congratulations! That's
Thank
great.
you. So it's a waiting. I'm waiting for a phone call at this point, but they're telling me it's a week to 2 weeks at the most.
All right.
It looks like it's coming. We do have some folks that we know personally that have it.
Yeah.
Not the vaccine, but have gotten sick recently. So that that's the flip side of that coin.
Yes.
So there's positive and negative news being mixed together right now, but I think we're seeing more positive starting than negative. So
I agree. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. So keep your head down, keep working, keep learning, and hopefully we'll all see each other very soon.
Yeah, I think by summer we'll have a good idea of where things are going to be at next year.
Agreed.
All right, John. Thanks again for sharing your time with me, and thanks to the audience for listening to us old men rant about what we used to like about technology and how to harness crabs for the greater good. And we will see here all week on Code It Live. We've got TJ Vantel and Sam Bazoo and some of the other people that I mentioned, myself and Alyssa, Nicole. We've got VR on Thursday and React on Wednesday and Blazor throughout the week, and it's just a great channel to follow. So make sure you click follow, and we will see you all week long. Take care, everybody.
See you.